This build is taking forever. Can we finish it today? Stay tuned. Let's find out. It's safe to say that joker's hot there. Alright guys, so as you can probably tell by that intro, I'm starting to feel like this build is dragging out at this point. When I've done some projects in the past, and they usually have a time period in which you'll hit in just about every project that you'll really start to feel like they're dragging on, especially any major project, whether it's building the car, building the engine, remodeling a couple of houses that I've done. When you're getting towards like the 3/4 mark or more of a project, most of the time you're kind of burnt out with it. You're done with it. So that's something to be aware of if you're jumping into a big project like this, is just know that it's going to drag on most of the time. I mean, we can slap these things together, but at the end of the day, we want them to be as best as we can do them. And for me, that means slowing down, taking my time, making sure I'm getting everything right. So anyway, I'm going to jump back in where we left off on the last one. Like I said, I got a feeling I'm probably going to leave the head off of one side where we have the top dead center tool for timing pointer reasons. So I've scoured the internet. I can't find a single LT1 timing pointer for Gen 2 LT1 that I can purchase. So I'm going to be forced to make one. I think, like I said, I could screw down the spark plug top dead center tool and use that, but I trust this one more. I can see it, I can verify it with my own eyes, and to me that's a big deal. Like, I don't want to have. I know sometimes I've heard guys say you can run into a valve hitting the stop issue where it will throw you off. You'll think you're at top dead center and you're maybe not quite on it because of the valve touching the tool. I would think that would be a problem more so on a really tight setup, but you never know. So anyway, with this method, I know exactly what I got. I can see the tool while it's sitting on the block. So thinking that's probably will be the best option. But because I have to make the timing pointer, that means I'm probably going to have to leave the one head off in the intake manifold for finishing this video up. But next video that I do will probably be on making that timing pointer, so stay tuned for that, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it when it comes out. I'm going to do a raw version of it where I just kind of make it here in the garage at home out of aluminum. And then I'm probably going to try to see if I can transition that to like building a CAD file and having somebody 3D print or either see the 3D print or CNC cut a one out of aluminum or carbon or something. We're going to see what we can come up with. Got a couple of options. Talked to a buddy of mine, and he thinks he could do it either way. So we're going to kind of test the waters on it and see what we got. So anyway, without further ado, we're jumping in back where we left off. We're going to start putting this thing together again. Let's get it.
Alright, so step number one, we want to mic the crank and get a size on that, and then get an internal measurement on the hub for the damper. Its interference fit is supposed to be 8/10,000ths to 12/10,000ths of an inch. So basically 0.8 to 1.2 thousandths. And it looks like we'll need a little bit of honing for this one.
Alright, so I gotta pull 23 10,000ths out of this hose. It says hone it to fit, and that will be about what we're shooting for. Alright, I gotta figure out the best way to hone this thing, and then at that point we will be ready to come back out tomorrow, probably about the time I figure out how to hone it. And we'll pick up again from here. We throw the optispark on, we can throw the hub on at that point, the balancer here, and then we'll move over and start working on our heads. So that's the plan. We'll come back out tomorrow and finish it up.
I talked to ATI, and they reassured me that the factory crank that I'm running with that would not need me to hone the balancer at all. They were pretty adamant about it, so I've taken them at their word. I know sometimes, like the dial bore gauge that I have was not small enough to get inside of the hub, so I wasn't completely confident trying to use inside mics as the way I was checking it. they can be a little finicky sometimes. So we're going to go with their recommendation and roll with it. I moved on to putting the head studs in the block, a little bit of sealant on each one for the threads. We'll make sure we don't have any leaks. Everything's going down into water jackets, so we want to be, thorough there. Make sure you get a good seal. We're basically just running these down hand tight and snugging them just a hair with the T-handle wrench. Doesn't take much here. We're just looking for a little bit of snug. That's it.
Alright guys, so obviously it's the next day. As you can tell, we ran into the rest of our head studs with sealant only. The only two we haven't done so far are over here on this far side on the number 1 hole. I left my piston stop in there, set to top dead center number 1, where I verified on the degree wheel before. So we know that that's a true top dead center on that stop. I left that there so that I could set up my timing pointer the way I wanted to do it. So basically what we're going to do now is install the optispark, and then after we install the optispark, we're going to put this hub and balancer on. So that's kind of the plan right now. We'll go ahead and continue along. Like I said, by leaving this stop in place, we know we got a true top dead center on number 1 verified on the degree. Alright. Alright, so I don't want to get the balancer part itself too hot, and I've already put it on here. I don't want to take it off. And I also don't want to really apply direct heat to the hub because I don't want to mess the finish up on it. So what I'm going to do is I stuck this socket down there on an extension, and I'm just going to take this torch and I'm going to heat the socket itself up and use that to put the heat into the hub. I think it'll work. I'm going to try it out. It's safe to say that joker's hot there.
A couple things to note here. We want to make sure we use anti-seize on the inside of the hub where it goes on the crankshaft. This will prevent it from seizing and make it easier to come back off in the future. You also want to use a proper install tool for it. Running it down with a bolt is a bad idea. It's a surefire way to strip the threads out of the crankshaft, so just make sure you got a good tool to use for this. When you're putting the OptiSpark on, there is an alignment dial that will go in, and at least on mine, in only one spot. It should be only one spot on all of them. Make sure to line that up correctly. I know there's a lot of guys on the forum that I've seen over the years talking about, maybe they forced one in, and if you just go and you be careful with it, once the distributor goes through the seal on the timing cover, the pin will line up and it will be a smooth transition. It won't be a forced situation. So just want to make note of that. And otherwise, we should be pretty good here. So we're going to move on to this head gasket.
Alright guys, so got these heads cleaned up. Ready for the gaskets.
Alright guys, so with these studs installed, it can be a bit tricky to get the MLS gasket to go down on it. It can be done, just be careful not to gall anything. You want it to be able to seal once you get the heads down on it. We spoke to Cometic. They are recommending a dry installation for these gaskets, so no spray was added to them. And just want to make sure to add a little ARP lube to the threads and the bottom face of the nut where it meets the washer to ensure a proper torque spec.
Alright guys, we got all the nuts put on the studs here, and we're getting ready to torque them down. Spoke with Speedmaster, we got the studs from. They're recommending 30, 55, and 70. As the increments will step up, we'll follow the factory torque sequence on the head bolts. So we're going to jump right in and get that knocked out.
Alright guys, so when it comes to torquing the head studs or anything really in general, it's important to be smooth when you're pulling the torque wrench. You don't want to be jerking or resetting a bunch. Go ahead and get you a good, comfortable position that you can make a nice steady pull on the torque wrench. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You set the wrench for where you want to be, and you stop when you get there. So we followed the torque sequence. We got the head all torqued down. After we did that, I went ahead and moved on to mocking up the water pump into place. I wanted to do this so we could try to figure out how to set the timing pointer up. So like I said, in the next video, we will be making the timing pointer. And like I said, this is the general mock-up for that. It's the start of it. We're going to end up putting it on one of the water pump bolts and one of the optispark bolts. So,
all right, guys. So as you can see, progress has been made. We made a couple of good jumps on this build today. Got our damper installed from ATI. That's a really nice piece. I recommend it for just about any build. ATI, you can't go wrong with them as far as the dampers are concerned. So definitely check them out. We got the optispark installed that we freshened up the cover. That turned out, looks real nice on the front of this engine to match the paint. Got our head installed on that side, and like I said, we're leaving this one off. And as you can see, we have the tool still, our piston stop right there. So we'll leave that in place until we get the timing pointer built and situated, and then I'll just throw that side of that head back on and intake manifold, prime the engine. We're good to roll. Yeah. So anyway, appreciate you guys following along today with the build. Definitely appreciate you guys and all the support on the channel. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate all the likes and comments on the videos. It really helps to push these videos out to more people. And that's the whole idea, is that we would get these out to more folks so that they can either be inspired to get in the garage and do some work on their car, or maybe pick a tip or two up along the way if we can manage to give them some. So anyway, I appreciate it again, guys. Y'all have a good one. We'll see y'all on the next one.